If I could be any other man in the world, Mitch Joel is in my top 7 people that I'd want to be. Brad Pitt is another one, and John Hamm. So, Mitch, for slightly different reasons, because I think you're better looking, but also I kind of want some of your gray matter. I want to talk to you, Mitch Joel, about the future and where things are going. You know, predictions are so terrible. I'm the worst predictor there ever is. So I feel like you have nowhere to be but up above that. So where do you think the world is going in the next couple of 3 years? Because Julian and I are rewriting or re-releasing Trust Agent's 10th anniversary, and we're having to delete awful things that we thought were going to be true from 10 years ago. Where are we going? Don't say 10 years, but like, you know, even a little bit, where are we going as far as business, digital marketing, and that sort of thing?
Whenever I hear your name, Julian Smith's name, and Trust Agents, I only have one thought, and you know exactly what that is, that we did a book tour together, uh, building trust in a connected world, I think, because I was doing
Something,
six
yep.
pixels of separation at the same time. We did like bulk buys against travel and speaking, and I don't think it brought us to any of the places we thought it was going to take us.
I
And
believe that.
it was a great experience, but I have some crazy memories of what was essentially my own little rock and roll road trip with you and Julian, and you bailing on the one that was really crazy, which was North Bay, Ontario. But that's a story for another day. So, a couple of thoughts. One is, and these aren't predictions so much as provocations that I want to see happen.
Mm.
One would be what I call data less, not data less, but data less. And the old sort of joke that I say is we have this quote in advertising. I know that half of my advertising works. I just don't know which half. I think we're in a world now where we know that half of our data works and we don't know which half. And that's a really scary thing because it's data. My thoughts are that we live in this crazy world where we're collecting so much data on our customers that it is a fundamental liability. I don't believe that you can show me a product where you need more than 7 data points from me as to whether or not I'm a customer or not. And yet we are collecting anything and everything. And I think it's really dangerous. I think it's led to a lot of the sort of animosity that people have towards tech, if there is that fear. And that's another sort of prediction trend I can talk about. But I really think that the smart brands moving forward will be trying to collect less data, hence data less. And I really hope that they do, and I hope they're smart about it, and I hope that they leverage what information they have to make the experience better, which leads to prediction number 2. We talk a lot now about customer experience. So people talk about customer experience now like it's the new marketing. In fact, you Google that. Customer experience is the new marketing, and you'll just see a million people who are all hot on marketing now talking about customer experience. I don't think that is the place we should land. I believe we need to broaden it, which in turn takes us back to the fundamentals of the positioning part of marketing, which is one, what is your brand? Do you truly live your brand? That's Simon Sinek, what is your why? Two is, if that is your brand, what's the brand experience? So that's not what the customer sees or does. It's what you create in hopes that people walk into your lot and buy from you. And then 3 is the customer experience. So they're not separate, they're all intertwined. So if you're looking at your world from what's our brand, what's the brand experience, what's the consumer experience, I believe every winnable moment happens within the parts that aren't connected and working together fluidly. So that would be my sort of prediction provocation number 2, that we're going to move more, I hope, in that direction. And the third one, I fall into my conspiracy theory world, which I don't know if it's a conspiracy theory. I just know that when I say it, people think that it is, and it's not. My background was in journalism. I used to publish print publications. I sat on the board of directors of Post Media, which is one of the largest newspaper companies in North America, happens to be up here in Canada. But I really do believe that there is this great media eye poke happening, and I find it really frustrating. It happened very recently. There was these massive features on Jeff Bezos, and it was trying to paint him as this sort of evil, maniacal person. And I read one of these articles. It literally took like an hour to read, and I was like, seems like a good enough guy to me. You know, not in every sense of the word. I get it that there are problems with automation and there are problems with staff and employees not having pee breaks and whatever it is. It's not perfect. It's a big, crazy machine. But I do think that a lot of this is driven by the media and politicians. And the reason I say that is because if you look at consumer behavior, it's not resonating. People love Amazon. Just go look at Amazon right now as we're heading into the holiday season. Go look at people on Google, go look at people on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, China, whatever you want. But if you think about it in a more critical way, not a conspiracy theorist way, in a real critical way, who has the most to gain if these companies don't win or don't do well? And it actually is the media companies because they're the ones who had their business models ripped out away from them. Whether it's Google and Facebook and even Amazon, they literally stole these massive infrastructures that were generating billions of dollars and controlling the message to a certain degree, both left and right. And so, again, I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist, but I do think that a lot of this sort of negative tech that we see is justified and the stories need to be there. But it doesn't seem to be bothering consumers as much as it seems to be bothering the people who lost their business model to these companies. And I think because of that, I do believe, unfortunately, because we should never be in this place, that people will start and or continue to have or grow, both again, left and right side, forgetting politics, a negative feeling up to the media, like they're only painting things in a bad way. And I think that that's problematic. So the answer to that one is actually more transparency. And the other one is regulation. And I believe in both of those, and I think they should happen. And I think that that transparency will alleviate the consumer pushback to media. I think from the media standpoint, it will open things up in a more dramatic way. And I'm hoping that as I say this, nobody out there is confusing me with a conspiracy theorist. It's not. I do believe, though, that every single hit piece on tech is to the media's advantage.
I was thinking, and I had to look it up because I couldn't remember the name of the director, Todd Phillips' Joker. I was watching some press right after Joker, and who stuck out was Zazie Beetz, who, if you haven't seen the movie, she's billed as something kind of different in all the ads. And when you get to the movie and you figure out what's going on, it's a little different. So all these people were coming up to her about the media. They were like coming up to her going, don't you think this movie incites a lot of violence? Don't you think this movie's not, responsible in these trying times and all that? She goes, no, I think this is a really important movie in these trying times. This movie has a very important reason why this isn't working. And it talks about healthcare systems and all this. And they go, right, but isn't it violent? And it was like, there's times when you feel the media doing this to you, and there's times when you're totally blissfully unaware and you've been pushed in some direction. You as a journalist, you're vividly aware of it, but the regular folk are not clear on this. And I feel like, I always tell people I don't see much value in going to a university anymore. And I hate saying it. I just do. I'm like Al Tutcher. I just don't believe that college is what it used to be. I think trades are, but I think that everyone alive should get media training now. And critical thinking and journalism training. What do you think?
If you have young kids and they have unfettered access to technology, which they do, you need to be very, very, very scared. And I don't say this as an alarmist. I'm a punk. I'm a heavy metal guy. Like, if anything, I'm like, let my kids do whatever they want. When you start really digging in and realizing that there is no oversight here, there is nothing. And I know people go, well, sex and violence, I'm okay with swearing, or I'm okay with any of those three things, sex, violence, and swearing. I'm fine. Live your life.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about the subtleties of recruitment videos, self-harm. I'm worried about and I say subtleties of conspiracy theorists. You could be watching a very PBS authorized documentary on George Washington, and the next video you're clicking on because it looks relevant has nuances that have to do with conspiracy theories. And when you're a young person, you just don't have the frontal lobe to know the difference. And Unfortunately, many adults don't have that frontal lobe either. So when we talk about it, I get really agitated because I think we are building a very, very different world. I'm not saying that's good or bad. I happen to think it's not great, because there needs to be controls. People say, like, how do you find discipline? Discipline actually happens when there are things put on top of something. And if you have none of those things, it will never be discipline. So you're absolutely right. I think the front line of defense really is media literacy. I look towards school administrations for this. I look to teachers. I look to the students. And last, I actually look to the parents, because I think that the parents are the toughest ones to train. And they're the ones going, oh, you got the new iPhone. Like, here, take my old iPhone. And they don't realize that at school they may be on lockdown or have Barracuda servers set up, but all they have on the other side is unfettered access. And I've seen really in my world nothing but really bad outcomes when things go bad. It's easy to talk about the good stuff, but when things go bad, it goes bad really fast. Now, stuff existed before, argue away, for sure. But this is unfettered. There is no ratings. There is nothing telling the person where this content is from or who it's aimed at or who created it. This is new days. And I really do have a depth of fear for it, only because even as a parent, I'm good at this stuff and I can't catch it all.
I'm with you. One of the smartest men alive, Mitch Joel. You can go to sixpixels.com. You can go to mitchjoel.com, and you can just find him anywhere that important things are being done. Mitch, thanks for your time today and talking with me.
Hey, buddy, anytime. Always good to see you.